Hey everyone, Chris with Coalition Gaming here, and just doing a quick little hardware hunt mini vlog, I guess you could say. So I've been working on putting together an X58 system for my fiance's little brother to be his first PC build, and that first PC build is going to be using an X5650 6-core CPU. We're going to overclock that. And one of the motherboards that I got in the other hardware hunter videos, that'll be linked right up here. And so feel free to check that out. We're gonna go ahead and head out and grab that part because, well, not that part, but the graphics card. I just made a deal on the graphics card. Graphics card prices, well, they're crazy. Let's not really get into that right now, but I managed to find a 7970, which I believe is a gigabyte, and that runs at a gigahertz core clock. I'm not sure if that makes it the gigahertz edition or not, but either way, it's not a terrible graphics card to start out with for your first build, and it can play most things on medium-ish settings at 1080p. So we should be in good shape with a GPU like that. So we're gonna go ahead, head out, pick that up from the guy that I made the deal with. So I got that through OfferUp. So, you know, most people just check Craigslist, eBay, stuff like that. No luck there, but OfferUp and Letgo, other apps that have been becoming more popular, have some luck there. So, let's get to it. Navigate to Starbucks, McKinley in Corona.
Showing results for Starbucks in McKinley in Corona.
We're heading out. So we're gonna go pick up the Gigabyte 7970. And from what I understand, it's got a modified cooler on it, some sort of a custom cooler. So one of the reasons I got it for 60 bucks, and at $60, it's gonna do pretty well. So probably at least as good as a 1050 Ti, I hope. We'll see. So we've arrived at the Starbucks where we're going to be meeting the seller at. So just waiting for his confirmation that he's arrived. I don't see him out there yet, so just waiting. Oh, phone ring. So here we are with this Gigabyte 7970. So I did a little research really quickly and I found out that this is a Perlimatech MK26 GPU cooler. This thing is a monster. I was thinking about switching it over with the Arctic Twin Turbo Acceleron, but I think I might leave this on. I might just have to check the thermal paste on it, but it's just a monster. I gotta find out how to get the fans on there though, but yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna do great, so can't wait to test it out. So the deal was a success, and at first when I plugged in the card onto my test bench to test it out, going straight into DVI, I didn't get anything, and that kind of worried me, obviously. But using going through HDMI took care of the issue. So HDMI, all good. And wow, man, I did a little research on that cooler, and the cooler itself, yeah, it goes for about $70. Now, obviously, it comes with clips so you can put your fans on, and I didn't get it with those clips. It also comes with heat sinks to put onto the VRAM modules and stuff like that. But yeah, no such luck. However, I do have that stuff from this guy, which was the original plan on getting a graphics card like this, because I was supposed to be getting one that didn't have a cooler on it, but there's some delays on there, and I really want to get going with a build for my fiance's little brother already. So here we are, and fortunately it all worked out. 60 bucks. With this big honking cooler on it. I did manage to get a single 120 millimeter fan on there, and that's connected to the motherboard with 3 pins, so it's running at whatever speed that the header is already set at. Should be full speed. Fortunately, the fan is quiet, so I can't even really notice it. And running Heaven, which you can see running back there, it won't break 70C. So I know it can still do better if I had a proper fan set up on this cooler, but even with one single fan on there, not breaking 70C, that's pretty nice. It's not bad for a Tahiti card. The 7970 is equivalent to the R9 280X, which is basically the same as the R9 380X. So yeah, I ran through a few benchmarks on there, did Overwatch, Battlegrounds, and Battlefield 1, and I was very well surprised with that one. Now, textures in Battlegrounds had to be tuned down to medium because at high it really pushes the 3 GB VRAM limit, but medium puts it down to around 2.5 to 2.6 GB of VRAM, and it does really well there. And so let's talk about those benchmarks. Up first with Battlefield 1, we have an average frame rate of 70 FPS, a minimum frame rate of 51.5 FPS, maximum frame rate of 101.9 FPS, 1% low frame rate of 47, and 0.1% low of 20.9. Now the 1% low there means that it remains very playable even through some drops, and the maximum frame rate means that in some moments you can actually get a really good FPS there. But the most important number here is the average FPS, and I guess you could say it's arguable that it's most important next to 1% low or something like that. But either way, 70 FPS on average. Battlefield 1 was running in the high preset with HDR off at 1680 by 1050, and these are some really good numbers for that. Up next with Overwatch, we had an average frame rate of 132 FPS, a minimum frame rate of 54.7 FPS, maximum of 201.9 FPS, 1% low of 60, and 0.1% low of 18.9. That 1% low of 60 means that that game is going to run smooth almost no matter what. That game is just, it's a well optimized game for especially for older hardware. So yeah, it's a great running game. And in an average frame rate of 132 FPS, if you happen to have a high refresh rate monitor paired with this, maybe even a FreeSync, although FreeSync isn't actually supported on these, but just a high refresh rate in general, you will be able to really see some good smoothness with that. Yeah, so that's Overwatch. And finally, PUBG. So we have an average frame rate of 67.5 FPS, so that's really great. We managed to stay above 60 on the average. The minimum frame rate of 19.9 FPS, a maximum of 106.9 FPS, 1% low of 13.6, and a 0.1% low of 1.5. Now that 1% low is just typical of Battlegrounds, especially in the starting area where everybody is all just still congregated until the match starts. But once the game gets up and running, it tends to smooth out nowadays. The 1.0 update made a big difference. So the average frame rate of 67.5 maintained over 60 FPS, and this is on a mix of mostly medium with a little bit of low or very low on there. So it still looked great, but you didn't really lose too much performance on there. So maintaining an average over 60 is pretty great, especially on hardware, especially for something from what, 2012, 2013, something like that. Yeah, so Battlegrounds, there you go. So that's the 7970 Monstrosity Edition. Really cool that I got to go on another little hardware hunt, I guess you could put it, and got to see how the 7970, at least in stock form at 1 GHz core clock and 1375 megahertz memory speed. Well, it's good to see how that fares in 2018. So it actually fares pretty well, and you know, you're gonna get a lot of people being like, AMD, fine wine, hell yeah. Well, great. I mean, that's really awesome, and if you can get a graphics card that is still somewhat effective, what, 4-5 years after its original release, maybe more than that, you can't really argue with that. And you know, getting it for $60, can't really argue with that. So I can't wait to put this into the build. Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be coaching my fiance's little brother as he puts this together, but can't wait to get that build together. The card's still not going to be the prettiest, unfortunately, but it's going to get the job done. This build is all about function over form, and can't wait to get it all put together. Anyways, if you guys like this video, click that like button, subscribe for more. We always have more coming, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.